What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I've got a cup of tea right here.
This was the first bet.
I'm trying to think of better descriptive words. I've got a cup of tea right here. Those days where you can't have enough tea. Hello you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Atlas, and on this channel we talk about all things books. In today's video we are going to be doing the mid-year Freakout Tag. This is the first time I have done this type of video before, so if I'm a bit rusty, please just bear with me. I'm not a pro, I'm just doing this for fun, so that's that. I pulled 8 questions from the internet that seem to be recurring questions asked in this mid-year Freakout Tag. So I'm just going to answer them and talk to you guys about my books and the books I'm wanting to read, and yeah, so let's get into the video. The first question is, what is the best book that you've read so far in 2025? Now I've screwed this up because it's the book at the bottom of this pile, so bear with me for a second. It is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I think I've read this December and January, so this is like the very first book of the year for me, and I did really enjoy this book. I love how it looks as well. It's such a lovely edition, this. I wanted to save up and get this 30-year anniversary edition because it's just so nice. So more or less everyone knows what The Secret History is about. Is there even a blurb here? Yeah, so this is what the blurb says. Under the influence of a charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at a New England college discover a way of thought and life, a world away from their banal contemporaries. Their search for the transcendent leads them down a dangerous path beyond human constructs of morality. So it's very much a secret society type of vibe of a book, and I found it really interesting and unlike anything I've ever read before.
This was the first bet.
This was the best book going into 2025 because of the vibes it gave me. It was more or less everything that I expected it to be. The only downside was that I did see the ending coming. I think it was spoiled for me, to be entirely honest, but it didn't take away from the story because I still really enjoyed it. The best book of 2025 that I've read so far is The Secret History. Next question is there a new release that you haven't read yet but you are excited to? This has been released and there's been mixed opinions about it, and that's Funny Story by Emily Henry. I picked up Happy Place last year and it didn't quite sit well for me, but now I feel like my opinion of romance has changed. Beforehand I was very cut and dry as to what I enjoyed for a romance, but now I have read Boys of Tommen, and I've not read all of the Boys of Tommen. I've read Binding 13 and Keeping 13 and half of Saving 6, and I DNF'd Saving 6 because that was just a bit too much for me, and I don't think I'm going to pick up the rest of the series, but my taste for romance has evolved, and I think that Funny Story, it's really intrigued me. It's one of those books that I keep hearing about and I keep thinking maybe that would be my cup of tea, maybe that would be what I would really enjoy in a romance. And there were parts of Happy Place that I did enjoy. The writing style was really unique and unlike anything I have read before, and that speaks to a really strong writer in my opinion. So I do want to read that book. I think that would be really interesting to read, Funny Story, and I would probably pick up Happy Place again. I think I want to give that a second chance. So that's what I'm excited to read for 2025. What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I was just looking this up and it's called The Impossible Fortune, I think, by Richard Osman. That is the 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club series, and I love those books. They are so good. Me and my mum have bonded over those books so much, and the characters are just so thought out and what's the word I'm looking for? they're mature characters in many different senses of the word. They know what they're doing, they know who they are, and they are unapologetically themselves, and I love characters like that. Sorry, I just heard something. Maybe I'm hallucinating. By the way, random side thought, I have psychosis, so I do hallucinate some things here and there. Just a random fact about me. I was talking about The Impossible Fortune, I think it was called. I could have the title wrong, I think that's what it's called though. So I'm interested to jump back into that series. I think it's gonna be really good because I have really enjoyed all the other Thursday Murder Club books. The first book was my favourite because it was just brand new, it was fresh, and the twist at the end really had me. So I'm excited for The Impossible Fortune by Richard Osmond. I think that'll be great. Next question is, what is your biggest disappointment so far? Now that is an interesting question, and that's it. I remembered the book it was. I do have this pile of books that answers that question, and I have another pile of books in front of me. So my biggest disappointment so far this year is probably Hit and Done by Andy Maslin. It's not a bad book, it's just the way some parts of it were written struck me as a little bit sexist, and I don't usually talk about that kind of stuff, but it did really bother me a few times, the way that the writer talked about women. So that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, but the story itself wasn't bad. It was a 3-star. It was just one of those books where there was parts of it that I was just like, I'm not so sure about this. But it's not terrible. Like, if you have read this book and you've loved it, then, like, you know, that's absolutely fine. But it's just one of those books that left me, it was disappointing. Yeah, it was disappointing. So your best surprise so far? My best surprise so far is The Keys to the Streets by Ruth Rendell. I've talked about this book so many times on my channel. I annotated it, and I had such a crazy time reading this book. It was honestly, I can't think of any words to describe how pleased I was with how this book turned out. It was just written so well. It's a really unique premise as well. Mary Jago has donated her bone marrow to save the life of someone she didn't know, and this generous act led to the bitter breakup of her affair with Alistair. For him, it was as though her beauty had been plundered. But the man whose life she had saved would change Mary's life in a way she could never have imagined. Located in the area around Regent's Park, Ruth Rendell creates an atmospherically charged universe where a young woman's life is in danger both for the middle class world she knows and another world of the dispossessed and deranged. Mysterious, complex, dangerously inventive, Ruth Rendell's new novel may well be her finest achievement. Honestly, it was just so good, and the atmosphere that this book built was unlike anything I've ever read before. It spoke of summer in such a dreamy, beautiful way, and the environment that you would walk around, like the different places that you would walk around in the book, it felt like you were there, and it was just so unique and brilliant. And Ruth Rendell is honestly such a talented writer. I would seriously consider picking up more of her books if they weren't hard to find. So if you do find a copy of this book, read it, because there's nothing else like it on the market. A book that made you cry. Now, I haven't cried so far at this book, but it did almost make me cry, and it's a book that I am currently rereading, and that is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. When I first read this book, it was so unique, and I'm trying to think of better descriptive words. Let's read some of the quotes on the back. It says, a gripping page-turner, that's The Independent. A triumph, says Stephen King. Thrilling and touching, The New Statesman. Masterful, the Evening Standard Books of the Year. A modern epic. Gripping, dazzling, astonishing. Yeah, it is a hard literary fiction, so if that's not really your cup of tea, then you wouldn't really enjoy this book. But it was so different in its plot, honestly, like nothing else out there. And the character of, who's the main character in this book? What's their name? Theodore, that's it, it's Theodore. I just remembered, I didn't look it up. Theodore's character, you can tell he's a boy that's trying to grow into a man, and Donna Tartt captures that aspect of his character so well. He starts off as just a boy who has lost his mum, but the way he grows into the person that he becomes is so real. It really makes you feel compassion for the character. And I loved this book, and there were parts of this book where I wanted to cry because of all the things that Theodore goes through, and it's just such a brilliant book. And I do love Donna Tartt. I did start reading A Little Friend, but there was something in that book that really turned me off. It was just like a phrase or something in the story, and I was just like, no, I don't want to read that. So I haven't picked up A Little Friend. I probably won't pick it up, to be honest. It just, the way it was written about some things, it just completely turned me off picking up that book. But The Goldfinch and The Secret History, both brilliant books. And I forgot about my tea. A book that made you happy. Now, that is quite a question. I would probably say Earthsea, because this book is so moody and so gripping and grimy. It just paints such a, I want to say the word atmospheric again, but I feel like I've used it so many times. That's what I look for in books, is the atmosphere to be strong and for me to feel like I'm there, and this book definitely does that. It's so brilliant, by Ursula K. Le Guin, by the way. In case you haven't heard of Earthsea before, I am up to page 92 and I have been annotating this book. So that's what my annotations look like. I am quite colourful in annotating my books. Colour really pulls me into the story, and it makes the story more real, and it just, I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. You can imagine yourself like walking amongst the mountains as you read this book. It is just so brilliant in so many ways, and the character Jed I have found to be unbelievably irritating, but I do believe that is the point of the writing. So far this book is really good, and it makes me happy reading it because of how it sets the tone for this book. So yeah, I want to read more of this book. What books do you want to read by the end of the year? So we have quite a list here. I have in front of me my physical TBR, and it's not that many books compared to some, but I do believe that I will finish all of these books in the year. So the first book I have is Daphne du Maurier, Rebecca. So I've been told by people in person that this book is phenomenal, and I've been told that twice by two different people, two of my friends, so I am really interested to read this book. Last night I dreamt I went to Mandalay again. Okay. Working as a lady's companion, the heroine of Rebecca learns her place. Her future looked bleak until on a trip to the south of France, she meets Max de Winter, a handsome widower whose sudden proposal of marriage takes her by surprise. She accepts, but whisked from glamorous Monte Carlo to the ominous and brooding Mandalay, the new Mrs. De Winter finds Max a changed man, and the memory of his dead wife Rebecca is forever kept alive by the forbidding housekeeper Mrs. Danvers. Okay, that sounds interesting. That's all I'm going to read of that so far, so I'm hoping to read this book. I have also started, and I'm currently doing a reading vlog for, Great Expectations and Death Wears a Golden Cloak by Andy Maslin. So, Great Expectations. This is going so well so far. I absolutely love sitting on the sofa right in front of me, having on my headphones, a cozy blanket, and reading this book. That is my favourite thing to do right now. So this book is going really well. So far it's sitting at a 4-star and I absolutely love it and I can't wait to finish it. Now, I've just mentioned Death Wears a Golden Cloak by Andy Maslin. This is a thriller and the start of this book is really interesting. It starts off from the killer's perspective, which is so ominous. Let me just read to you the first page that is from the killer's perspective. It's so good. Fatima still looked good in her wedding dress. Maybe not so pretty as the first time she wore it to church, but then she was alive that day. It's cold in here, dark too, but there's a little moonlight coming through the stained glass windows and that's enough. Well, I lay her gently on the altar. She can't grip the flowers, so I tuck her fingers around the stems. There, that's better. Tomorrow is Saturday. Leanna might discover her if she pops in, otherwise Sunday. It doesn't matter, not to me. I bend over her and kiss her brow. Then I close her eyes and think of her. Then I close my eyes and think of her. I love you, my darling, and always will, despite what he did to us. It sounds interesting, right? So Andy Maslin writes from the killer's perspective really, really well. So I am really interested to read this book, despite the fact that Hit and Done was kind of like, it was okay. I did get this book at the same time as I got Hit and Done, so I'm excited to read this. I think it'll be really good. And now we have Troubled Blood by Robert Galbraith. This is one of those books where I picked it up in W.H. Smith one day and I started reading it and it just sounded really interesting. I know that this isn't the first book in the series, but I am really interested in reading this book. It just painted such a strong picture in the first page that I didn't stop thinking about it until I've gotten my own copy. And because of that, I think it's going to be a really, really good book. So Troubled Blood is one that I'm definitely excited to read. Have some more tea while I wait for my leg to actually come back to life, because I seriously can't feel it right now. We have quite a few books here and I've already seen that I've been talking for 23 minutes. So I'm going to try and speed through these as best as I can. We have North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I have no idea what this book is about, but I am excited to read it nonetheless. I was given this from a friend. They recommended it, so I'm going to read this book. We also have Our Mutual Friend by Dickens. Again, I got recommended this by a friend. They told me to read this book and they gave me this copy, which is amazing. It's actually got some annotations in the book from the person that read this to start with, and it's got some gorgeous illustrations. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Dickens has such a unique writing style that is actually quite similar to Donna Tartt, because Donna Tartt reread Dickens's work many times and she still rereads his work today, and so that's why I think I'm enjoying both of them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this. And then we have The Last Temptation by Val McDermid. This is a thriller and I am looking forward to reading this as well. A twisted killer targeting psychologists has left a grisly trail across Europe. Dr. Tony Hill, expert at mapping the minds of murderers, is reluctant to get involved, but then the next victim is much closer to home. Meanwhile, his former partner, DCI Carol Jordan, is working undercover in Berlin on a dangerous operation to trap a millionaire trafficker. When the game turns nasty, Tony is the only person she can call on for help. Confronting a cruelty that has its roots in Nazi atrocities, Tony and Carol are thrown together in a world of violence and corruption where they have no one to trust but each other. So again, sounds very interesting. Looking forward to reading that. And then we have Josephine Cox, The Beachcomber. Again, I have no idea what this is about. I get a number of my books secondhand from bookshops or from eBay, and that way I find titles that no one else is talking about and that are unique to me, and that way I feel like I'm not constantly consuming books that everyone else is talking about. So this is one of the books that I got in a eBay package, and I am looking forward to reading this. And the same with this, Love and Laughter by Lily and Harry. It's like an old romance, and it looks really interesting. It's quite short as well, it's only 340 pages, so I think this will be a good quick little read. And now we have Fire and Sword by Simon Scarrow. This is a historical fiction book based in Egypt, I think. No, is that right? No, that's not right. December 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte is Emperor of France. His ultimate aim to rule Europe. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where this is set. So I guess I'll find out when I start reading it. We also have Journey's End by Josephine Cox. We have The Wind Off the Sea by Charlotte Bingham. Again, this is like a secondhand book that I got in one of my eBay parcels, as well as this one, For Love of Lily. This looks interesting too. It's a historical fiction, looks really great. And this book, The Year of the Locust by Terry Hayes, this sounds really good because it is based around a CIA operative, and it sounds very interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading this. And then we also have another book by Simon Scarrow, The Generals. This is, I think, as far as I know, set in Egypt, because the front cover says Neapolitan in Egypt, Wellington in India, an epic struggle for supremacy has begun. So there's dust on the top of this. It sounds interesting. Again, it's just one of those books that I found in an eBay parcel, and I thought, you know what, why not read it? Why not? And then we also have, finally, The Count of Monte Cristo. I have not started reading this yet, but I do want to. It is on my July TBR. I don't know if I will get to it, but I will try my best. And you don't really need to know much about Monte Cristo to know that it is a classic. That's the word I was looking for. And it's supposed to be really good, so I'm excited to read that. And that is all the books that I am hoping to read this year. I'm gonna have to reorganize all these books because they're now not in an order that suits me. They're not necessarily in an order to begin with, but they're in order for my TBR. That's the word I was looking for. So that is my mid-year freakout tag. Those are the books I'm hoping to read, and hopefully I will get to all of them. The reality of that is quite slim, but I'm going to do my best. I'm interested in all of these books. I only have, how many? Let me count how many books I have on my physical TBR. Not including the 2 books I'm reading right now, we have 14 books on my physical TBR. So I think I will get to them this year. I think I will have them all done, and I will need to buy more books. Our spare bedroom in my house is currently being used by a friend who is staying with us, but they are going to be moving out soon, and I will be getting my very own book room, my own at-home library, which I am so excited for, and I will need to fill a lot of shelves with a lot of books. So you've got that to look forward to, which I am so excited for, to have my own library just filled with books. It's going to be so amazing. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see that, because that will be coming this year. Very exciting. So thank you so much for watching this. If you have made it this far, please leave the book emoji, because why not? We all love books. If you're here, and if you're watching this, no doubt you love books as well. Subscribe, as I would love to see you again. And thank you so much for watching this. I love you a lot, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!